Hi, guys, and welcome back to the That's Where I'm At podcast. Today I have Amy. Amy is the CEO and founder of Live with Intent. I'm going to move this over. Sorry, everybody. An intuitive life and business mentor with 20 plus years corporate business experience. She uses a variety of modern day spiritual techniques in combination with business mastery to collapse time on your success and welcome more pleasure into your world. And I think we need that. Welcome, Amy.
As we spent 5 minutes just giggling before we
I know.
started.
It's
And
true.
it,
I mean, it's true. And I decided a long time ago, even though we're talking about some heavy stuff, I'm going to laugh about it because, I was having this conversation with some friends. This really works well with what we were laughing about and everything. I was having a conversation with friends. This time of year we're recording around Christmas time. It's hard for a lot of people. And so I have noticed that I need more laughter in my life. So like I'm going out with a friend tomorrow night and we're going to go do things that are fun for us. And I know I'm going to laugh and it's like I need that kind of stuff. We need more joy. And that helps me with my serotonin and all the things, you know what I mean? So
oh, I love it. One of
yeah.
my clients hosts laughter yoga.
What?
Yeah, I didn't even know this was a thing. And she hosted laughter yoga in my membership benefits community, which is a whole other conversation.
Right.
I never knew this was a thing. I mean, laughter really is the best medicine. And she combines laughter and yoga, and it's next level and it's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard of that, and that does sound amazing. A place where you can laugh, because I'm the person who laughs at anything, anytime, during any situation. But I know some of that's nervous, but other times I'm like, I don't know, things are funny. Look what's happening right now. We got to laugh about it, So tell me how you got into your line of work and helping us, bring more pleasure into our world.
Well, I have to laugh because there's really no mistakes in anything, right? And I spent 20 years in corporate business sales, which was super go go go, lots of targets, lots of performing, and you did amazing. And then the next day, start all over.
Yeah.
And like, I love business. I love helping people, but what I didn't like was the hustle and the performing and the
Yeah.
exhaustion and emailing at night and emailing on the weekends and
Yeah.
urgent this and hurry that. And I never started business meetings like we just started this podcast, just laughing
Right.
for no reason other than just because we had the space
Yes.
to do it, because we weren't bookended back to back to back to back to back between all these things that were really
Right.
important. I don't
Yes.
know about you, but my number one purpose in life is to enjoy life,
Yes.
not to work my ass off until I'm
Right.
65 and then go take a vacation.
Yeah.
So when you ask me why I left corporate, I
Yeah.
loved corporate. I'm an Aries, hardcore fire starter,
Yeah.
Taurus, astrological,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
grounded,
Yeah.
but I just want to enjoy life. And so I retired. I'm 45. I've got 3 kids and I work part-time. I have this business that I'm growing and I get
Yeah.
to pick my kids up from school without answering a conference call. I get to
Right.
go to their Christmas concerts without feeling the anxiety in the pit of my stomach. Oh crap, I'm playing hooky, or
Yes.
I should be on this conference
Right.
call, or I've moved this meeting around, or I'm going to have to work later to pick it up.
Right. That you have to hurry home because you still have work to do after you get home from the concert.
And I still work a lot, but I work it because I love it so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
My life and my work is interconnected. It's one. Whereas before, I was a corporate business sale. I worked for IBM. I wore the blue suit, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
cleaned up here. And then I went home and like I planted in my garden and I did interior design and I didn't talk about computers. I was 2 different people.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of performing and a lot of who am I and what am I saying? And now it's the same. And now it's just, this is who I am. And I love it.
That's amazing. Well, I'm also an Aries and I don't know much about it, but also it's funny because on my cover photo, I have it that I'm a fire starter. So when you said that, I don't know, is that an Aries thing? Because
It's 100% because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the
oh,
starter.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
and a friend had said that she's like, you're a fire starter because I do. I like if I'm around people, like the reason we just started laughing for no reason. It's like I'm going to give you the space that, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be like laughing for no reason, that kind of thing. And I will be with people and I will brainwash them into believing in themselves. And like, I was at a meeting, I was at a mastermind. The one girl was like, I'm just here to support my friend. By the time she left, we had a business for her. It's like, no way, you're amazing. You need this business. I mean, that kind of thing. So I do that. So that's kind
Oh,
of fun that's kind of fun. So tell me a little bit about how this all came to be, how what you're doing now, like what was the trajectory of that?
well, it's so funny. I always hear in my head, well, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, let's start at the very beginning, right?
Yes,
Because
exactly.
everything's connected. And for
Yes.
me, my life purpose is really to learn how to bring harmony and balance to relationships, to
Hmm.
the home. Everything's a relationship and everything is a system.
Yeah.
And our entire world right now is out of balance, as you
Right.
can tell,
Yeah.
because we're out of balance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so my purpose was to bring balance and harmony to me. And so I was in these really unhealthy, codependent, unhealthy attachments,
Yeah.
addictions, me and all of my relationship partners. And I had, this is probably going on about 10 years ago, but this has really been a theme my whole life because this is
Okay.
what I'm here to move through. But
Right.
about 10 years ago, I got to the point I'm like, I've done therapy, I've done counseling, it's
Yes.
not working. I'm like white knuckling. And if I don't keep doing, I'm
Oh,
going to crash. I felt like I
right.
was putting a band-aid on things, but I was never
Right.
really getting to the root of the issue.
Right.
And I randomly connected with this amazing woman. She introduced me to energy healing. I didn't even know what energy healing was. I
Right.
didn't know what chakras were.
Yeah.
Chakras are like an internal energy system that literally, it's like the easiest way I can describe it is you have a light that you plug into the wall. You know the light works, but you don't know how. You just plug it in and the electricity goes throughout. That's
Right.
your chakras. That's your energy system. It's a whole other system, which I was never taught about. I was taught about everything that's physical in the real world, the things
Right.
you do.
Right.
So I had never meditated in my life. And so I met this lady and I was like, oh my God, like, where have you been my whole life? This makes sense. I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know what this is, but this feels like an anchor, like a thud. And it
Right.
was just like, okay, this makes sense. I need to go figure out what this is.
Right.
And from there, everything just kind of snowballed. I felt like I was on a conveyor belt. Like I just kept wanting more and more and more because it felt good.
Right.
And this ultimately ended up helping me heal all these unhealthy attachments,
Mm-hmm.
all these codependencies, all these addictions that I was involved in. I had an eating disorder. I had issues with money. I had issues with working too much.
Yeah.
My partners had addictions. So moving through all of that, then I realized, okay, this is bigger than me. What I'm doing in corporate isn't what I'm meant to do. And so then I
Right.
exited corporate. And now I help women really untangle that world that we know so that they
Yeah.
can really kind of find themselves and really feel this regrounding and this resurgence of self leadership,
Right.
because that's what gives you the trust and the anchoring and the truth and the freedom to really live a life that feels so pleasurable and so joyful and so rich and
Yeah.
delicious
Yeah.
versus automated, robotic,
Yes.
cold,
Right.
heavy, right?
Right.
So it's been this kind of like continuing journey and it's going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I just really help people enjoy life and be happy, genuinely.
And we just need that. We need that so bad. Oh my gosh, we need that so bad. So, one of the things for me when I started working on when I wanted a different life and I wanted to enjoy my life more, I started working on my self-worth because that felt like it was really important. Um, because I felt like if I'm not healthy, like you were saying, like you were attracting people who were addicted because you were addicted or whatever,
Totally.
right? You're attracting the same thing that's kind of what I'm going to say, quote unquote, broken inside of you and or unhealed or whatever your trauma is. And so, you know, where do we have to be? Where does anybody have to be to begin working with you? Nowhere. Can we just be in a big puddle on the floor and you're just ready to go?
I'm such a hugger. Like, I'm such a hugger.
Yeah.
One of the really cool superpowers I have is I can see exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
Whether you want to do it or not, that's your choice.
Right.
Whether you want to deliver that information or not, that's also
Right.
your choice.
Yes.
But I can see, as well as because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, but also this is one of my gifts. I'm very intuitive that way. I'm a human design reflector,
Okay.
which for people that don't know what human design is, really that just means that I can just see a lot that
Yeah.
you can't, I intuitively see a lot.
Right.
But you can be anywhere, right? And for me, it really just starts with I want more. I want more than what I have. What
Okay.
I'm doing isn't working, and I'm
Right.
ready for help. I put
Right.
my hand up and I'm ready to ask for
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. And we don't even have to know what that more is, do we? Because I
I
know
didn't
that,
know what it was.
right. You just know instinctively, don't you, that there's that thing that I think many of us, and especially with me being 56, you feel like you get to this, quote unquote midlife kind of thing, right? And you go, is this it? What are we doing now? you know, and I think that longing for more or for something else is so instinctive. So that's all we need to know, right? We just want more, whatever that is. You'll unravel it. I
And
love,
it's never going to end. There's always going to be more.
yes.
And the thing that you need to honor in yourself, we're always exactly where we're meant to be.
Okay.
And some people are dealing with so much, or they're paralyzed emotionally, that
Okay.
more for them is to just be still and to just feel,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
so hard to do. That's a skill on its own. And then you might move through that, and then you're like, okay, more for me is I need to take an action. I
Yeah.
can do this action on myself. Great, awesome.
Yes.
And then more for me is, you know what? I know I can do this, but it's going to take me 12 months to do it. I want to ask for help because this person can help me do it in a shorter amount of time.
Yes.
Whatever decision you make at whatever point you make, it's more of something that your body already is telling you that you need.
Okay.
You just need to get quiet and listen.
Yeah. I love that. This has been a theme. So everyone listening, listen up because this thing of more could be more rest. I am telling you, this has been a theme over the last few days. I've been talking to people, and I think it's because we are in the holiday season, so the hustle and bustle, and it's exhausting, right? Even though I'm not really doing a lot of things because I don't have little kids and all those kinds of things, I still feel like, okay, it's getting close to 2024. I got to do the next thing. I got to know what my word is for the year. I got to know what my goals are. And it's like, I'm exhausted thinking about it. And my friend was like, have you thought about just resting? And I'm like,
Resting is a skill that is
yes,
highly underrated. My husband has an autoimmune disease. And so every time he goes through, for lack of better words, an energetic level up, he's
yeah,
out for 2 days because his
yeah,
body says, we need more rest.
yes,
And he's like, go, 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 go. And so it kills him,
right,
but that's what he needs.
right,
And more rest is something that we don't know how to do as a society.
yeah,
It's this gluttonous land grab of, I need all more of this, when what we
yes,
really need is more intimacy,
yeah,
more connection here. But we don't know how to connect with this. We were
right,
never taught.
right.
That's where it starts. It's learning how to connect with yourself.
Well, and I think you're right. When we're not quiet, when we don't stop, we can't see what it is, even that we need. We cannot stop. So what do we even know what we need? Nothing. We don't know because we're not quiet. So I know for people who haven't done any kind of work like this or therapy or anything like that, put their mind at ease that this is not a scary process and you're not going to force them to do anything.
No.
But I
I
like,
have learned, I have learned over many years, you can
yeah,
lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. And if you force somebody to make it drink, they're just going to throw up all over you.
right. I really like what you were saying about that you can see the work that needs to be done, but it's our choice, whether we're going to do the work, and that's true. But yes, yes, put our mind at ease at that. What kind of conversations are you having with people about that?
About what particular, like where to start, like what kind of work to do to
Well,
create more
like
space?
that you're not going to force people. Are you telling them these are all the things that I think you need to work on? Or are you kind of like gently going into, what do you want to do kind of thing? I don't know. How does it work with
Well,
you?
So I'm not going to mother you. I'm not going
Okay.
to spoon feed you.
Okay.
I am going to help you manifest the gift of leadership
Yeah.
because we have not been taught as a society how to self lead. We
Yeah.
have been taught how to do as we're told. So the last thing I'm
Yes.
going to do is to tell you what to do.
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
going to say, hey, this is what I've done. This is what works for me. Let's have a conversation. What feels good? What doesn't? Great. What would you like to do?
Right.
Awesome. I am not going to like sit there in counseling and just leave you with a whole bunch more questions. The
Yeah.
Aries and the Taurus in me is going to say, great, where are you?
Yeah.
Where do you want to get to? Let's make a plan to get you from here to here. What are
Yeah.
you going to commit to yourself that you believe in your core that you can confidently do? Not 75 things by next week, one,
Yes. Yes.
maybe two things, because I want to build little incremental moments of self-confidence.
Yeah.
I love using the analogy, like I have a 4-year-old boy and he's learning how to ride on a strider to like a bigger bike.
Yeah.
And he wants to go on the bigger bike. And every time he tries, he freaks out because he's like, I gotta go slower and I'm wobbly. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yes. Yeah.
But as you're learning how to ride a bike, you're not gonna all of a sudden become like an X game mountain bike downhiller.
Right.
You're gonna have like your little training wheels on.
Right.
And then you're going to take the training wheels off and it's going to be wobbly. And then eventually you're
Right.
going to get to be the X game downhill mountain biker. But it's
Right.
not going to happen overnight. But each one of those little mini goals are so important and so worthy to be
Yes.
celebrated. Because this is another thing as a society, we don't nearly receive enough as much as we give.
Okay.
And we need to learn how to receive. And if it literally is thank you for doing the thing that you did, for committing to doing that one thing that you're going to do every day.
Yeah.
It might not seem like a big win, but little small incremental wins over a long period of
Yeah.
time all add up. And those are actually easier to trick your brain into executing.
I love that. I really like the idea of celebrating as we're going along because I think that we often wait. And that's one of the reasons why I named my podcast what I did, because I felt like this is where we're at right now, right? So this and it's great and it's good. No one has to arrive anywhere or be anywhere. I mean, if your goal is president of the United States and that's what you get to, great. But what about all the things you had to do to get there? And I think about the healing I've done and the things that people do, right? They take the one step and it's like, why not celebrate that? I don't think that we do that enough. That I got out of bed today. I try to do that with myself, if I was having a really bad moment. But I love that idea of it's okay because it's true. You don't start, hey, I'm going to start running today. Okay, tomorrow I'm running a marathon.
Right.
That's not how it works, right?
And I would also layer into this the energy behind it is equally important. And when I say the energy behind it, it literally is how do you feel?
Okay.
Are you pausing and actually feeling the celebration versus scurrying over it like on the surface because you're thinking about all the 70 other things you have to do?
Oh, yeah.
Because then there's no point in celebrating because you're actually not giving that to yourself.
Right.
And this is back to the point about rest and patience.
Right.
Is when you learn how to gear down and be in the moment and rest, then you actually genuinely receive. And
Yeah.
this is where all the insecurities about intimacy and uncomfortableness and anxiety and stress come up. So it's like you're throttling back and forth. So you're learning how to build this relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
how to connect with yourself, how to give yourself. So beautiful. And it's just like a marriage. It's like a husband and a wife, a man and a woman, a
Yeah.
masculine and a feminine.
Yeah.
It's learning how to create this beautiful partnership
Right.
and listening to what you need and then giving yourself what you need and then appreciating it and saying thank you again and again and
Yeah.
again and again.
Well, but some of us who are taking care of everybody else,
Mhm.
we're not good at doing that. You
I
know.
was a single mom. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not now, but my husband's sick here and there. And so sometimes I have to do everything and I'm running a business.
Right.
And I encourage women to appreciate you can actually do it all and hold it all, but it's going to be like the race of the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
We come from a society where we have to be perfect and everything has to be 100%.
Yeah.
And then we crash and we burn because
Right.
how can we possibly hold that all?
Yeah.
But
No.
instead, if you think back to the race of the tortoise and the hare, who actually won the race?
Right.
The
Exactly. The
tortoise.
tortoise.
He stopped and he smelled the roses along the way. It's just we come from a society where it's like you got to do like a 3.5 minute mile or
Yeah.
whatever the thing
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Versus who cares if you take 3 days? You saw the little snail, you saw the little butterfly, you saw you looked at all the shapes that the clouds were making as you fly
Yeah.
by. Like all these like
Yeah.
beauties that we don't even think about that are enriching our lives, which help you increase your vibration, which help you be in a better
Yeah.
energy and a better frame of mind to welcome in more healthy relationships. It's nourishment.
Right.
So really what I do is I help women slow down so that they can really enjoy the depth and the richness of everything around them because we have everything we need. And this is to me a wealthy life. Money is just one bucket of it, but
Right.
so is sitting with your children and looking at your child and actually genuinely being so laser focused on your kid for 30 seconds or 2 minutes. And just that fills you up.
Yeah.
Like you cannot, like, you can't even describe that. Those moments, those little
Right.
sparkly moments, I
Right.
hope you create more of those.
That's awesome. And was this modeled to you when you were growing up? Did you not have this, was this like a later in life revelation that all this started happening? Or was this
Yeah.
modeled to you?
No, I mean, I grew up in a middle class home. My mom and my dad worked, my mom worked.
Yeah.
And for lack of better words, it was fine. Like there was no major issues. Like,
Right.
but everybody's got their issues.
Yeah.
Um, but it was work hard, right? Work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Money doesn't
Yeah.
grow on trees. You got to
Right.
just do the time. Um, and I just realized that 10 years ago, when I had said that I'd kind of hit that moment, I realized that this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like, I feel like a robot.
Right.
Like, what is this? This is not fulfilling. This is like Groundhog Day.
Right. Well, and societally, I think we're just taught that's what you do. Like you
We
were saying,
do.
like you were saying, just work until you're 65 or sometimes even later, and that's just the way it is. When we have so much, we can do like people who want to be in corporate, fine. And then look, there's still life to be lived. You just like you don't have to do the same thing over and over, and you sure don't have to hustle forever. That to me, I get exhausted just talking about it. That's for sure. And I don't think that I think it really hurts people. I know for me, when I was in the grind, I didn't even have time to, like, my brain was foggy all the time. Not even if I wasn't necessarily working at home, because I chose not to take work home and I would ignore my emails. I mean, that wasn't helpful, but I felt exhausted just from the thought of everything. And it's hard because it's like you can't even just leave work. People say, leave work at the office. How? When we're grinding, how do you do that? There's no way to do that, right?
Yeah, your tank is always half full.
Yeah.
And who says, and I did this for a long time and I still do it, but who
Yeah.
says that this is the template for you?
Yes. Yeah.
You know? And
I think it's true, that it's like who said that you were supposed to build this particular kind of life, right?
yeah.
Who said that? And what we think is the correct way. It's like it's not necessarily. And that
And it's the same thing even from a relationship perspective. Who says,
okay.
get married, have your kids,
Yeah.
and have the beautiful home? I had it on paper, it was perfect. Behind the scenes, it was a nuclear bomb.
Right. Right.
And that's what really more than anything got me going was like, I don't feel safe to be myself in my environment.
Yes. Okay.
And I need to figure out, and couldn't even wrap my head around what that was. And for
Right.
me, what it was more like, this doesn't feel good. I have like right here a constant, like my spidey senses are going. I've got a knot in my stomach. I'm
Yeah.
always like looking around and checking and like I'm on guard
Yeah.
and I'm like hyper vigilant. Like this
Yeah.
isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
And, going to the counseling, it started to unravel it. and then really just learning how to get quiet with myself. And so when you're asking what people do, so I've got a free guide I can give people. I think there's
Great. Yes.
13 things on there that share
Perfect.
how you can raise your vibration.
Great.
Essentially, mindfulness, presence, going for a walk outside without your phone,
Yeah.
taking a bath, taking a shower.
Yeah.
You can listen to healing music. You
Yeah.
can eat nourishing foods. You can drink more water. Um, Journaling. I'm just trying to think what else is in there. There's a ton of things that are in there. And for me,
I,
these are all the
I
things that I started with. Hmm?
uh-huh. Excuse me. What I was going to say was someone recommended to me about go for a walk,
Yep.
not to get your steps in. Go and look at stuff. Go and look at the tree. Go and take pictures of the flowers. Go just look at things
Mhm.
and don't go. Yes, going for a walk is very healthy and all that, but don't go for that. Like for a purpose. Go wander and look at the sky. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never do that. I'm like, oh, I gotta go and get my steps in. You know what I
I
mean?
always take a walk without my phone now.
Yeah, yeah,
And even like I'm at the dinner table, there's no phones at the dinner table or when we
yeah.
go out. And it really drives me bonkers when you see people sitting at tables and they've all got their
I
faces in their phones.
know.
And
Yeah,
so I always tell people if you can just get outside, and I call them meditation walks,
yeah,
mindfulness walks, where you go out and you appreciate, the birds chirping. The birds isn't chirping because he wants you to acknowledge the birds chirping. The bird's just
yeah,
chirping. And so then you appreciate the bird, and then you say thank you to that bird, and that fills up your bucket. Or you go down by a babbling brook and you just watch the river flow.
yeah.
No expectations whatsoever. Just cool. Thanks. That was great.
Just enjoy it
Enjoy
and
it. And I try and wiggle. I find like wiggling
yeah,
really helps. It makes like a
yeah,
lot of the stickness and stuffness. I mean, I can go into more kind of detail with that, but at a very minimum, just moving
yeah,
and wiggling, like you feel good after 15, 20 minutes. And you
yeah,
do that every day. It really clears your head, and it
yeah.
allows you to get more focused on what's really important.
Right. Yes. Just moving our body not for a particular thing, right? Like you were
Mhm.
saying, moving your body.
Mhm.
I like putting on music and just, dancing around however I want to, even if I'm cleaning the kitchen or whatever, and just like breaking out and dance. It feels so good to me to release things from my body like that. Music to
Mhm.
me is like one of my favorite ways.
We have
Because
dance parties in our kitchen all the time.
I love that.
Taylor Swift is currently on repeat.
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing right now. I was just listening to her. No, it's true. I don't know. I just enjoy it. I don't even care when people go like, Taylor Swift. I'm like, well, then don't listen to her. Just
I'm
scroll
happy that
back.
my kids are listening to Taylor Swift. There is many other things that they could be listening to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's worse things. That is for sure. And it's like, no, it's great. Okay, so the freebie will definitely have that in the show notes because I think that will
Totally.
be really helpful. You know, so tell me this concept. I don't know if this will be kind of like where we finish off, but this permission for pleasure, like kind of tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's my speaker series. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I don't know. I wrote it down from last time we
Oh,
talked. I don't know. Is that what that is? I have no idea.
well, it's funny because it's like a phrase that kind of came into me probably a couple years ago now.
Okay.
And I did a masterclass training on it first. And then I was like, I really like that. So I turned it into a speaker series. So similar to what you do, I,
Oh,
I
okay.
interview empowering women. I have mostly women come on and host masterclass trainings. So for example, one of my clients that did the laughter yoga, she's come in there and she's done
Okay.
there. But essentially the undercurrent of it is really giving yourself permission to receive a pleasurable life.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, oh, okay, I actually am in charge.
Yeah.
I give myself permission to receive. And
Right.
it starts in slow incremental changes. And it might start just with going for a walk
Yeah.
or meditating or going to like a giving a gym membership, going to a sound healing meditation outside of
Yes.
the home so you're more
Yes.
experienced.
Right.
It could be having more genuine conversations, more
Yeah.
truthful, authentic, genuine conversations.
Yeah.
It could be taking your time to make a beautiful meal and appreciate and digest and taste all of it versus scarf it down. It
Yes.
literally is just a gearing down so that you can decide how you want to lead yourself through so that you can receive more pleasure in all areas of your life.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as I'm in charge. All right, I'm going to give myself permission to do this.
Yeah. And that's so important, but I just, maybe you can give everyone permission to do that, because I feel like sometimes, and there might be somebody, I just felt this in my spirit. Like, is there somebody listening right now that just thinks, I can't give myself permission to do any of those things because I'm not worth it, or it feels selfish. So we're giving you permission to go do something for yourself and enjoy your life, right?
Yes. And I would add that there are no mistakes in the universe.
Yeah.
You are important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you have a mission, you have a message, you have a purpose.
Yeah.
You're so, so important. And I encourage you to give yourself permission to fill up your cup first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fill up your cup, put your oxygen mask on first,
Yes.
then go take care of your kids,
Yeah.
then go connect with your spouse. If you are helping and people pleasing and overdoing and overgiving to the
Yeah.
point of resentment, obligation, exhaustion, you're just creating more of that. So the best thing that you can do is to just stop and take 5 minutes for yourself. I don't have 5 minutes. Oh my God. You have 5 minutes. You
Yeah.
have 30 seconds. Start with 30 seconds.
Right.
I literally had to start with 30 seconds when I was first doing my healing. And I love to do this now. I
Yeah.
would color with my children, little coloring books.
Yes.
And and this was when I was still in corporate and I had the brain going and all the emails going in my head and
Yes.
I had my
Yes.
phone right beside me dinging. And I literally had to put a timer on my phone to go color with my kids.
Yeah. Right.
But I did it. And then I made it to a minute or 2 minutes. And then I turned my phone over. And then I put
Yeah.
my phone in the other room. And now I'm like, let's go color. And they're like, get away. But it starts with like little incremental changes.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
where we go full circle back to what we just started about at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Not asking you to build Rome in a day. I'm not asking you to build the pyramids in a day. I'm asking you
Right.
to put one brick down and
Yes.
celebrate that you put the brick down and then do it
Yes.
again. And
I thought of another thing, for it's why sometimes as moms, we go to Target to go smell candles, you know, and touch the soft blankets, because it's
we're
like,
so malnourished.
oh, seriously. No, seriously. And it's like, I get to go to the store without my kids. That was a big deal when my kids were little, because I was a stay-at-home mom for a lot of years and have a child with special needs. And so it was exhausting. And it's like, I'm going to the grocery store by myself and I'm going to go smell things and touch things. And I'll be back when I'm back, that kind of thing. And it's like, if it starts there, I guess it starts there, but don't let that be the only thing you do is smell candles at Target. That's not enough.
I had a mentor quite a few years ago now. This was a feminine embodiment mentor. So essentially what that is somebody that helped me reconnect with my feminine essence
Okay.
and my pleasure, my sensuality, because it was so cut off because I was so in
Okay.
charge. I had to run the ship.
Okay.
And I was like, I can't do, like, I'm a single parent. I've got, I can't do it. And she literally said to me, like, if you don't create the space, you're not going to be able to create more. And you'll find if you start to just needle in a little bit of space,
Yeah.
you'll find that that will equal out in your environment and you will be surprised that your kids, maybe not quite right away, but they will mirror you and you will be able to needle and create a little bit more
Yes.
space and a little bit more. And I
Yes.
kid you not, instantly.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got it. This makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah.
So you can
It
do it.
does. It does. It makes sense rather than forcing it, right? Forcing that situation, but like you said, just kind of needling in a little bit at a time. And I think even what people are saying, like, or thinking, oh, I need to connect with my kids, or I need to find time for myself, or whatever. You're right. It doesn't have to be this giant thing. It could just start small, like you had just put your timer on your phone. I'm going to go color for 30 seconds. And Just anything in that is going to have to be enough for right this second. And then the next second you do something else. And I just love that. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much for being here. My gosh. I mean, so many good tips to better our lives. I'm telling you, it's just such a, where can everyone find you?
Let's see. The best place is I've just actually paused on my website.
Okay. Well, we'll
So
put stuff in the show notes as well for
yeah, I mean,
people.
I've got a link tree. My website is livewithintent.ca.
Okay.
But I'll put that in the show notes. But you can find me on Instagram or Facebook or
Okay.
YouTube. It's all the same, and it's at Amy A Jones.
Okay.
And that's pretty easy. My business is Live with Intent. You've got my
Awesome.
free guide. There's
Yeah.
tons of goodies in there. There's actually 4 exercises in there.
Awesome.
There's a goal setting exercise. There's a 21-day accountability exercise. There's a how to manifest. There's a raise your vibration. So it's super
Great.
jam packed. And then all my contact info is in there as well. So
That's
just
perfect.
download the guide and you'll find me.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. And we'll have everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And guys, if anything resonated with you, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and also leave comments everywhere you see us, if you hear us, and all the things. Just make sure you connect with Amy because it sounds like she's got some great things to help you live a life with pleasure. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay. Bye.